Yeah, the weather coming in for a bit of stick there, I notice, and quite frankly, rightly so. I've been apologising for the last week, 2 weeks, and I'm just going to keep on doing it because actually it's about to get a whole lot worse. Now, if you look at your screens very closely, there we go, that's us. This is today, that's us, Wales. It's actually been pretty decent. We saw some blue sky and sunshine, but that's what's heading our way for the weekend. And if I just scoot over a bit, that's what's heading our way for next week. What am I talking about? Well, I'll show you in a little more detail if I can play it through. We're talking about low pressure systems. Storm Kathleen is on her way. She's out in the Atlantic at the moment, but will make landfall tonight, bringing some very heavy rain, but most importantly, bringing some very strong winds for tomorrow. And then, as I say, another low pressure system waiting for next week. But as far as this weekend is concerned, there are warnings for western areas in particular, wind gusts of 70 miles an hour with high spring tides. Not nice by any means. I'm basically running out of things to say now. I mean, I've tried tulips, I've tried flowers, but sorry, song in a minute.
The tulips were joyful though. Thank you very much for delivering those.
It'll brighten
I won't
up
say
one day.
anything about the forecast.
Well, there's definitely a storm brewing out there at the moment. Northern areas dry, southern areas not so. The first batch of wet weather associated with Kathleen will start to work its way in, tracking northwards into the overnight stretch. Some heavy downpours thrown in from time to time, but there will be some dry spells. But the winds are going to be gusty throughout, possibly touching gale force around more exposed coastal areas. But it does actually move the air around, so it stops temperatures from dropping. Actually, from daytime values, a very mild and murky night with some hill fog gathering by the early hours of tomorrow morning too. So not a pleasant start to your weekend by any means. And as I've been saying, we do have that yellow weather warning which covers coastal areas in particular. There will be rain, nothing too heavy, and it will rattle through quite quickly, and that's thanks to those very strong gusty winds up to 70 miles an hour out towards the west. Even further inland we could see gales developing. But that does rattle that wet weather across quite quickly, and actually there'll be plenty of dry weather and even some slivers of sunshine. So despite the strong winds, we could well see temperatures much like today topping out at around 16 or 17 degrees, possibly turning just a little bit cooler into the afternoon as the wet weather clears. It's a cold front, so we'll see slightly fresher air starting to show its hand. There'll be more heavy rain, though, once Kathleen clears through Saturday night, and it does mean that the outlook is very, very unsettled. So Kathleen will be a one-day wonder, a one-day offering only, don't worry. And then, as I've been saying, the low pressure that's dominated our weather story for the last few days will then start to reassert itself. So the signs are that into next week, actually for much of next week, it's going to be a case of more of the same. Scattered showers, the occasional sunny spell, but the temperatures remaining generally on the mild side throughout.